Matt, and welcome to another wrap-up video. It's really hard to believe it's September when it's 90 degrees outside, but we are a few weeks into the school year already. There's a whole lot of books I was lucky enough to read in August before things really got kind of crazy, and I'm happy to share them with you guys. First up, I read an arc of Proof of Forever by Lexa Hillier. This actually came out in June and is the story of 4 friends who they were super tight when they went to camp when they were younger, but life kind of pulled them in different directions. Now they're back at camp on campus for a reunion. They go into a photo booth and then poof, they're suddenly 2 years in the past and they're trying to figure out how to recreate events to get back to the future that they know. But is it really a future that they want to be a part of, considering how much they drifted apart? I really liked the premise for this novel, but I didn't totally connect, but I could definitely see younger people liking this. I think it just wasn't my particular taste is all. Next, I read Un Amico Italiano, Eat, Pray, Love in Rome, and this was written by Luca Spaghetti, who is actually Elizabeth Gilbert's friend that she made in Rome during Eat, Pray, Love. So if you've read that book, you've heard about this guy before. I think I was expecting a little bit more to be about him and Liz. It really wasn't. It was an interesting one-time read, borrowed it from my library. Another memoir I read in August was Funny in Farsi. This was the story of a girl, and she was actually born in Iran, moved to America, and sort of just the shenanigans that her family would get up to, and how living in America with her family was so different from what her father remembered when he came to America as a college student. So there was a little bit of a disconnect. It was especially interesting seeing an Iranian perspective. Well, this was around the time of the Iranian hostage crisis, if you've seen Argo. That's what I'm talking about. And a one-time read from my library. Back on the fiction front, I read Jessie's Girl by Miranda Keenely. This was an arc, and this book came out in July. And it was the story of a girl who she loves music. She wants to be a professional musician, but she's kind of stuck. This is all while she's supposed to be shadowing a guy named Jesse, who he's actually a country music star who's about to give up his career. They end up spending a day together all around Nashville, and they get to know each other and see sides of each other that they both normally don't let show. I am a sucker for books that take place over the course of a day, and this one for the most part does. I bought 2 books through the Book Depository this past month. The first one was Exchange by Paul Magers, and this is a book about people who love books and bookstores. And you have a boy, Simon, he's 16 years old. His parents passed away, so now he's living with his grandparents, and he and his grandmother both love reading. And they discover this nearby store called The Exchange, but it's just about the quirky cast of characters and the kinds of people who love books, and how books can be a part of you and a part of your life, and how stories shape us all. My second Book Depository purchase was another British buy, and it was Dream a Little Dream by Giovanna Fletcher. I completely adored this book about a woman who's sort of stuck in her life, keeps having reoccurring dreams about this guy she used to know in college, and then end up meeting him again in real life. But Dream Brett and real life Brett aren't exactly the same, and shenanigans and love and life and great friendships ensue. Back in the world of arcs, I read Tonight the Streets Are Ours by Lila Sales. This book comes out this month, and it's a story about a girl who, in feeling lost in her own life, sort of finds solace in a blog that she finds online. And she sort of becomes mildly obsessed with the guy who writes it, and the fact that it doesn't necessarily feel like a blog. Sure, he has tons of comments on his posts, but she feels like he's speaking directly to her. And when her life hits a particular rough patch, she decides to take off to New York City in the hopes of maybe finding this guy. This book didn't quite grab me the way that her other ones have. It just wasn't my particular cup of tea this time around. Deciding to mix things up a little bit with a classic, I read Miss Pettigrew Lives for a Day. Yes, that movie from a couple years ago was based on a book, and I loved the movie, so I thought usually the book is better. The writing style is a little older, so it took me a bit to get used to some of the state of minds that these characters are in. It's a romp, it's a farce, it's making jabs at society in the time, and I think it's interesting how this book was considered so risque when it came out, while we would consider it like a Thursday night on ABC. I really got out of my comfort zone by also reading a graphic novel. The student book club at my school is reading The Wicked and Divine, Volume 1, The Faust, and it's about these 12 gods come into existence for 2 years, and they're immortal, and they have this amazing presence, and they're loved and they're hated, and then they die, and then they don't show up again for another 90 years. So this graphic novel is about they've just shown up again for the first time, and now technology is playing a role into their existence and figuring things out. There's a bit of a mystery going on. The art was beautiful. The story, I think I'll understand it more once I talk about it with my students. And now that I have a new job, I have a very long commute, which means I am entering the wonderful world of audiobooks. I reread, via audio, the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society. I'm finding that I really like audiobooks that are epistolary novels. For some reason, the letter format, it's easier for me to listen while I'm driving. And this is just a fun World War II story, if such a thing is possible. It's quaint. It's a lovely, quaint story, and it talks a lot about the perseverance of people and the power of community and how one person really can make a difference in the lives of others. So those are the books I read in August. Quite a lot. I don't think I'll be having this busy of a month for quite a while. The school year does come first. But if you guys have any thoughts or opinions on things that I've read, please let's keep the conversation going down in comments. All of my usual links are down below. Comments are always welcome. And that's it for me for now. Take care. Bye! I'm currently reading Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert and listening to the audiobook of If You Could See Me Now by Cecilia Ahern. And if you like what you've seen today, please like and please subscribe for more.